Hey, Dale. I don't know if I can hear you yet.
Hello, Charlie. How you doing?
Good,
Sorry, I
good.
missed the last couple meetings. I was out of town helping my parents do things.
Oh, yeah. Was it fun to
Oh,
be there? Or
well,
was
my
it a
my
requirement?
mother turned 80 years old 2 weeks ago, so I was
Wow.
missed for that. And then I stayed in town for the following week to help her work on her rental house, and so now I'm back at it.
Nice. Hey, Tony Ray.
What's up?
Um,
We're laughing because Norma's cleaning this room right now and she was trying to be done before we went live.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
a moving thing in the back. You can barely see her, but she'll move around.
I just saw something blurry.
Yeah, she's on blur right now.
It could have been a cat. We never would have known. Yeah. Dale, how was business while you were gone?
Uh, I received an offer and then it fell apart, and I'm working on a new listing. Well, it's an existing listing that the seller, she lost her husband in October and she's been wishing back and forth. She called me up in a panic. I'm not going to sell my house. And yesterday she calls me in tears in a panic. I got to sell my house. I got to sell it now. And so I'm getting that on the market today.
Gotcha.
But I got a fixer that's not getting sold, kind of like what Tony said earlier. I really liked how he reframed his listing. Something I don't remember what it said yet. I have to look at my notes. But then he got some activity on it.
What what was that, Tony? I don't think I saw that.
He just talked about deferred maintenance rather than being a fixer, I think.
Well, there's two things I did because it's a triplex essentially, and it had deferred maintenance. So I was very clear in the listing to all of the agents and to the consumer what was going on there. And we went right out and got an appraisal because I thought it was worth $500,000. And we got an appraisal and I wanted to see what she would come in at. She came in at 490 with all the deferred maintenance, which I didn't even know there was as much as she found. But so I was close, and we listed it at the 500 anyways, and it was a bidding war with 12 offers over a 24-hour period. It got, and I had a trustee who couldn't meet till Tuesday. So mind you, I listed Friday and I can't meet her till Tuesday. And it was chaos the entire time. Like, people were sending me texts every hour and emails every hour of the 12. We changed our offer. We resent you a new one. Right after we processed the first one and got it ready to go to the trustee, a
Right.
new offer comes in. So they're battling, and I'm not even talking to any of them. I'm like, I'm not talking to you till Tuesday. I'm on vacation. And they're just, so instead of 12 offers, I ended up with 38 offers because they just kept resubmitting offers.
So what's the upside of the property that makes it so attractive?
It's a rental, and the investors are out like crazy trying to buy rentals. And that's why Dale, when you were and I were like hinting into that group last conversation, what my thing was, we can all write books. That's great. And I can have a book but what do you do with this thing? Right now, we need to use that book. We use authority in the book and find these people. And I love BRO, and don't get me wrong, absolutely, I will send a book to all the BRO people and say, hey, clients, help me understand if this is a good book or not. Help me read this and give me critiques. I'll do that. But in this world right now, you cannot rely on one pillar of business to get you through. You cannot.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, I would love to be able to use this book for other lead gen. And now there's this pocket right there that I just discovered in Tucson, which is a frenzy for duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. So, and Dell, you've been on this talking about it for months. And I'm like, there it is. Dell just
Well,
proved the thing. It's right here. It's in
I was
front of me.
I don't want to steer this away from if Charlie had other things going on, but I was going to reach out to you today and say, let's just do this on our own and get started. Let's just start brainstorming something if you've got time.
Yeah, and Charlie might be in on this too, is how the hell do we get, what's the steps?
Well, with the
Get in front of
referral
those
while you
folks.
sleep, we can talk about our book. We can talk about each chapter as an interview.
Right. Yeah. So I just
Story.
did that. I just did that with Brad Brinkman. That's what we did with his book. So what, do you guys have a book, or are you wanting to create a book?
Create one for investors. So on one end of it is for, in my local area here, is we have just horrible landlord-tenant laws and people are selling their single family rentals. I want to approach them. I'm calling them tired landlords. Tony,
I'm
you
gonna
know,
move my
their
blinds real
rental
quick.
market is exploding with investors because they have friendly things. And something I was thinking about, I don't know if Tony can hear this in the background, but
Yeah, I can.
in the book, I can recommend them, they contact you to reinvest their money. You know, and then in the book, you know, this is co-authored with Tony Ray and Dale Flayton or something like this. And Tony Ray, and maybe if co-authored makes it look like we're in cahoots with each other, but we could also just make a suggestion saying, you know, I've worked with Tony Ray in the past. They do great property management, or if Tony Ray doesn't, he can refer somebody, but Tony Ray can find you that investment property.
Hey, Travis.
And you could potentially take a vacation down there and write off some of your taxes, you know, just something to encourage them. They're already sitting on the fence because they're frustrated with their rental, or find that person that's in the back of their mind. They're thinking about, hey, I want to get rid of this rental, but what do I do with the money?
Right, where do we go? And maybe that's maybe that's not in the book, but it's in the offer.
Yes.
Here's the book, plus I'm going to give you some suggestions on here's the actual legal ways to avoid capital gains tax. Here's the only ways you can do it. Here's a solution in a hot market in Tucson, Arizona, and maybe some others that you know where they have a hot market. I can get you to a realtor in one of these hot markets. And so let's have a consultation and see what you want to do. And then I can give suggestions for you on how to solve, because selling is the part for me. I'll take over as your agent here, but let me help you. Before we go to selling, we need to discuss where we're going, because you have to make decisions, and I'm going to help you get through those with some top help at wherever we need.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
I'm gonna clue in Jerry and Travis with what we're talking about. Travis, we've been talking quite a bit over the last few months about working with investors as clients. Tony Ray, he's got he's got a whole system, and like we were talking about it. And the cool thing working with like investors that are looking to get, you know, maybe 10 or 20 homes over 10 or 20 years, you know, maybe even 5 or 10, is when I capture the client, then the second contract, like there's no pushback at all. Like sometimes Tony Ray just says, I've got the house for you, and we need to offer 410, and they're just like, all right, write it up. And like, so the one client becomes, you know, 5 closings, 10 closings in the next 10 years. So we've been talking.
Those people most times are emotionally detached. They're just looking at strict numbers. They don't really care much about, you know, condition or, you know, worrying about the tenants involved and all that. So they're just, you know, if the numbers make sense, let's do it.
Yeah. And by the second one, they already trust us. So, you know, like they just say, you know, let's do that. So we've been talking about that. And then Dell, where Dell lives, their tenant laws are atrocious right now. Like it's gotten worse and worse and worse.
Wait, worse than Jersey? It doesn't get much worse than New Jersey.
But anyways, is there's people that want to unload their rental houses, or at least it's in the back of their mind. They're considering it. And some of the people don't even know what the new laws are. So once they read the new laws in the book, it might get them more motivated to pursue this, to explore the idea of selling the rental and or reinvesting once once we share with them the opportunities of reinvesting into a more friendly state.
Yeah. So the idea is, you know, Dale can reach out to those people. We're talking about putting together a book, reach out to those people, say, hey, you know, if you're wanting to sell, here's your options. And then on the back end, you know, if you want to, you know, if you want to keep being in it, here's Tony Ray, you know, here's some places where you can reinvest that has friendly tenant laws if you enjoy. And me and Tony Ray, we actually just did a 6-video course on this ourselves. And so that's what we're talking about doing. How do we, how can this be one market we go to? Because as Tony Ray said, in this market, you don't just have one leg, you got to have multiple legs to make it.
Totally. And most of those investor friendly states are like smack dab in the middle of the country, and then it kind of branches off over towards Florida. You know, you're talking Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, you know, all the way down into like Georgia.
Yeah. And Tony Ray, he's in Tucson, and he's got it. They're pretty friendly there, right?
Yeah, we're super good on taking care of the landlord here.
Well, in the big
and taking care of the tenant. The Landlord-Tenant Act is super strong protector of the tenant, and we have very good laws to help them. But they can't get away with staying if they don't pay the rent. They don't get away with this. Everybody gets a trophy bullshit. That's what I call it.
Well,
that just doesn't happen here. Thank God, not yet.
and the big win for the seller is they can do a 1031 exchange, move into that property, sell it as an ownership, and not pay their capital gains. So a lot of people up here in Washington, they're all for moving to the Sunshine State, probably up in Jersey, moving down to Florida, you know, as retirement. So this gets their foot into it, and it's another push off the fence to show them how this can all be done.
Right.
That's a cool way. They can buy it as an investment
And move into it.
and then move into it.
You're thinking about a retirement. So we have a lot of retirement people that buy a retirement home in Tucson, use it as a vacation home for a few years. They come in from Chicago, for example, is one of our big ones. I don't know why, but Chicago, they come in and then they sell the Chicago house and they move into the vacation home or the rental if they bought it and rented it, and then they live there in their retirement. So they're actually using it as a retirement planning thing as well.
Yep.
Now, I think that's happening from Boston and New York over to Florida. And we see Chicago, California, Washington, and Oregon are our big states coming to us. So I think, Dale, to your point, I would make this book, like we should all have this book. You know what I mean? We could all be using this book and then not cover laws or things
Just
that
like
are not evergreen, and then have that as part of, once we do consultation, I'm going to go over the laws, explain those pieces with you and how they're affecting you, and then help you with understanding these components. Because obviously you don't want stuff in the book that could change. Like laws.
And so in the book, you know, we're giving them ideas
Yeah.
to think about. The consultation, we talk about the legalities and stuff like in person, because that's always more questions.
Yeah.
And
The
look
book
it up
is the
online
hint
too.
of how smart you are and how much you're needed and how they can't live without you. That's what that book does.
Yes,
And then you fill it with, once we have consultation, we're going to fill in the blanks.
absolutely. No, that's why we just need to brainstorm this and start highlighting.
What is the pain point that we're solving with the book? Like what are the are we mainly targeted to Dell's like people that are in tenant unfriendly spaces?
Dale's would be that. Obviously, that's a great book for Dale, or it sounds like Travis may have some bad stuff going on there too from that conversation. There's not just Dale and Travis. There's a lot of states that are having a problem. So that's one way to approach a chapter in the book, maybe, if you're in one of these, if you're in a state that's not landlord friendly, this book is for you.
There you go. That's a perfect title.
And then another chapter could be, if you're wanting to move and start thinking about retirement, this chapter is for you. And if you're looking for just transferring property to a different spot for some reason, this chapter is for you, because the chapters could be about different people, and it could allow them in a workbook format to go, wait, I'm not in this situation, but I'm over here. So I'm just going to read this chapter and fall in love with this author and then figure out how the heck they can help me. So you could play that way too.
So just to add to this, so like my issue here in Jersey, at least, to the age group that I speak to, is the purchase price entry point for, multifamily here has just shot up astronomically. So like, to give you an example, like 4 or 5 years ago, you could find a really nice 3/3 2-family, and it would be like 475 to maybe 500. That's now 800 plus. So it's very difficult for people to invest here that don't have a lot of liquid capital. So they're hearing whispers that, well, your entry point in another state might be that 400 range, and the rents in that area are pretty comparable to what they are here. They're not as high, but they're close.
Yeah.
The other thing we could do with this is write the book, and then there's a Travis chapter that he adds to the front. Dale adds his chapter to the front. Basically, because then it becomes very personal to the city, state, area. You could do it that way too. We could do the generic information in the book, and then each person could add a chapter to the front end, or and make people really feel like, oh, this is all about Jersey. This is my person right here. So that could be a really great way to help it. The other, what you just brought up though, Travis, is brilliant. Is there's another creative leveraging way to get somebody into one of those properties, is teach these kids, buy the triplex. Because I have kids that qualify for 800,000, but they don't want the payment.
Gotcha.
But if they bought the duplex or the triplex and added 2 renters, all of a sudden their entire mortgage is being paid for. A lot of it's being paid for by 2 other people. And explain to them how that's a 1-year situation. You move in, owner occupy, 1 year to 2 years, you move out, put a tenant in your spot, and go get your SFR.
Yeah, or they could, they could always get a cosigner, especially a lot of these people are still living at home, and that would be an incentive for the parent. Why don't I, cosign for them so you can qualify for a little bit more, get a 3 or 4 family, and set them up.
Yeah, so there's that's creative stuff that's in that book to help these kids people get into investment and start being able to, because they're going to be competing with cash investors. They're going to be competing with Warren Buffett. They're competing with the wealthiest people in the world. Are all, I think 56% of all portfolios for the wealthiest people are real estate right now, and only 26% of their portfolios are stocks and in that trade market. So, and then Warren Buffett makes an announcement, everybody should buy real estate, which he did last year. All of a sudden, every investor's come out of the woodwork, right? So it's going to be complicated for young people to get into that market with duplexes and triplexes, but the loans are allowing them to move in. And so that's a really great way to leverage some money and get their first property, their first.
Yeah, Tony, you're spot on there. It's become so mainstream now. Like I showed a few 2 families yesterday evening, and I was just amazed at the amount of traffic. A house that just came on the market, and then it's also too, it's like the different demographics. It's so many multi-generational families, whether they have they're Indian or Hispanic. There's so many different ethnicities that come in and target multifamily. It's very interesting, just from a bird's eye view looking at it.
And I'm glad you're recording this, Charlie, because we really need all these notes, because this brainstorming right now that's going on is amazing. The other statistic that just came out is, who's the group right after the millennials? Y? Gen Y?
Is it Z?
I'm an X. I'm the lost group. I'm not a baby boomer. So I'm in the lost group. Nobody knows we exist group. I'm a
Right.
Gen X. So it goes millennial, then Gen Y or Z or something.
Z, I think it's Z.
So that
Uh,
group who's
yeah,
after the millennials is this huge, massive group coming right behind the millennial group. And they just noted what you're saying, Travis, is this is the first group in history to be super, they're very focused on multi-generational. They grew up in mom and dad's homes way beyond the norm that we're used to. Like I was out of mom and dad's house by 17 because I had two options. You go to college or you go get yourself your apartment and your job. That was expected when I was a kid for all people. We didn't get to stay with mommy till we're 30. This new group is staying with mommy till they're 30 plus. And that group is now very focused on family. And they're saying that wave is going to be looking more than anyone ever for multi-generation housing or duplexes, triplexes, or homes with ADUs, guest houses. That group is what's coming in on there.
Tony, that's a great point, because I was actually having this conversation with my uncle. We were talking about how most of our parents and grandparents are living into their 90s now, right? And
Yes.
just in my neighborhood, so not only my grandfather passed away a few months ago at 93. Okay, then there is an old lady down the street who's in her 90s, and a lot of these people, like, they don't have anybody, so they're taking up a house that could otherwise be on the market, right? So rather than a family take that older person in and care for them, they're leaving them and staying in their home until they pass away, but they're living longer. So that's another reason that we're struggling with inventory right now.
see,
Right.
that's book number 2, moving into 55 and older community.
Well, to that point, Dale, the numbers yesterday I was listening to on your 55, your baby boomers are the poorest generation. Their retirements failed them. They were sold on 401ks, and they are the poorest people ever in history to retire because the 401k system failed them, and they are stuck. They are really stuck trying to figure out what to do to take care of themselves. And they weren't expecting to live past 60. Now they're living to 90, right?
Yep,
So you
yep.
have a poor 401k generation that did not plan retirement properly, and they have no money, and a lot of them have a house, but don't know how to get out of that house or what to do with it properly to protect themselves and have a roof over their head. And again, back to multi-generational, if they have a good family environment, they could be moving in with kids in another private, in a casita. In Tucson,
Yeah.
it's a casita. So they could be moving into something like that. So we have two problems going on, massive problems, which, these things can solve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm noticing just around me, it's like anything new that goes up, just in my county, a big county, and there's one road that goes from Newark, which is an old like hub, business hub and banking hub, and it goes all the way out to one of the major highways here. But you go to any town, and there's towns in there that aren't very favorable, and there's very, very nice towns, but every one of them has luxury rentals going up. And I just don't understand how they're going to fill all these luxury rentals, but every single town has them.
That's interesting, because we did in Tucson, Arizona, which I never would have expected. We have 4 towers of apartments, and they're renting at $3,000 a month, and they're all full, and there's hundreds of them.
That's the same price here. I mean, you're talking about a studio is like almost $3,000 a month.
I'm Tucson, Arizona. These are 2 and 3 bedroom apartments, but I'm telling you, for $3,000 a month, I used to be able to go rent a big ass house in the foothills, in the mountains with a view. So
sure.
The fact that people are renting these things in downtown area, they're renting apartments at this price, is crazy to me.
It'd be interesting to know what the age demographic is of those renters. Are they retired, or are they, young professionals, or who it is?
Yeah, Dale, I mean, these developers aren't idiots. They're obviously doing a census beforehand to get a feel, or else they're not going to build. I would be very curious, to your point, to know the same thing. Who are they getting? Where are they coming from? Are they coming from, by me, it's New York City. I don't know. Are they coming from the boroughs and coming over here?
And they're rent only, they're not for sale?
They're not for sale. Every one of them are rentals.
Same.
Wow.
Yeah. Same.
That's the only thing new. And then housing, if you do find housing, it's always $1 million plus, because building materials are expensive and there's got to be meat on the bone for these builders. So they're only building stuff that's $1 million, 2 million plus.
Okay, so Charlie, there are data lists out there. They are data lists with landlords, emails, phone numbers. What if we took a group like this that wants to do this and did the book, added on whatever we want on the front chapter? You and I both have already started this process in video. We could use this book also as an offer on video, but then you take that and run something on the referrals while you sleep type ad system to those landlords who own properties in those states. So
Yeah.
Dale gets the landlords in his city. We need to find that database that has emails, because it's not going to work.
I think PropStream has it.
With what?
PropStream.
Does PropStream have emails and phone numbers?
I think they have both. And it's, I don't know, 3 cents or 5 cents a person. I have PropStream up. Let me find it here.
If we could find, get the most accurate one we could find, Travis could pull that list for his area. We could all pull the list for our areas, right? And then this works for lender and realtor both, because if the lender gets the client, the lender gets to be the hero who goes out and grabs their favorite realtors and plugs them in. And the lenders would know to get the right real estate agent who would understand, because some of their agents only understand SFR and would not understand multifamily or all the little nuances to buying, that property and holding and selling again. But this puts the lender in a position of having 2 sales. It puts the realtor in a position of 2 sales within the next year and year to 2 years, and start growing that together, right? So it's a win for everybody if we get the right lists for our cities off, and then go into something that Referral While You Sleep creates. That's an ad campaign that would go out and talk about this and get those people to want those books. And I'm not saying that's a very easy process, but everybody here has a piece of this to plug in, and it could be amazing.
So PropStream is saying they have phone and email information for 12 cents skip tracing, no minimum requirement, multi-source, top tier skip tracing you can count on.
Can you put that in the chat and then we can look at that? Because I think it's a great one for us to have. And then, but anyways, I think we could plug all this into this now that we've hijacked your entire show, Charlie.
No, hey, this is great. What I like about this, this is an evergreen campaign too. Like, this is something
Right.
that can run for the next, you have to change some things, but the next 10, 20 years, there's always smart people that want to invest in real estate. And I can tell you, so me and Tony Ray, we, like I said, we've actually been working on a course on a lot of details, and we've got one video left. And I'm sharing this because the results have been amazing. So the first video was 3 minutes and 7 minutes. And then we go, pretty detailed. We got 30, 36, 34, 37, 22 minutes. So, these people are spending a lot of time with me. And my clients, I've had just some clients that are interested in investing. I'm like, hey, will you watch this and give me feedback for it? And they are so pumped and stoked to do this strategy. It is just, and it's just amazing, and some of my clients, they're needing to sell now, but they came to me wanting to invest and rent out their current home and buy a new home, but they're like, you know what? That's not, thank you for sharing. That's not for me. I want to sell and dump the money into the new house. And yeah, I can position it, but at the end of the day, it's their thing, and I'm cool with that. You know, like I get a buy and a sell from it. But it's been phenomenal. My question, Tony Ray, how do you think we could take what we've already done and help build out some of the chapters in the book?
Oh, we just transcribe. That's easy. We transcribe those videos, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm really glad you did something with them because I've been on vacation and I didn't even know we had them. Like, I didn't even know I have them done. I'm turning red because I'm embarrassed that we spent all this time on it and I've not even thought about them. I sent you a message yesterday, however, saying I need
I saw that.
But I think we transcribe, there's a couple hours probably total, 3 hours total.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think you transcribe those and each one could, if there could be really some real, there's chapters pretty much, right? We kind of did 6 chapters by video.
Yeah.
So there's 6 chapters to that book already. That would be a workbook. And then Travis, for example, adds we'll call it the conundrum of New Jersey. Dell adds his conundrum, right? Jerry, I don't know what Jerry and Jessica have as far as conundrums in any of this, but you could make that chapter be whatever you want. And then we take all the creative stuff we chatted about for all those hours and turn them into chapters through transcribing, and then load that back into ChatGPT. And then we load it in and say, write a chapter with all this information, write a chapter, that's lots less ums and ahs of us babbling on, but it would make a really nice chapter, right? And then Travis could take it and say, I want to make it my own. And Travis could spin that chapter back into ChatGPT and say, read my writing, now rewrite this chapter to sound like me, Travis.
Right.
So he could do that, or he could leave it alone and just say, I'm good enough. This is good enough with me. I don't use that word ever, but now I'll learn it. Like I have, sometimes when I don't have a word I use, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just practice that word and then people will hear me say it. So, because why reinvent this wheel? So we could transcribe and then throw it into ChatGPT and create a book.
And I bet we could use something like Fiverr or to create like a design for the book, like a book cover.
Every single one of us could pop to canva.com and put in book cover and just they're done. Yeah. Canva's already got them done, I'm sure. So, and if you don't, AI on Canva will create it for you. Just create a book cover for me. So that's super simple. The key to this is, again, which Dell and I kept chatting about, was, okay, we got the book. Does no good if there's 100 of them sitting in a box in your office. Yeah. So how do we get out and get people coming in? And that's the key.
Yeah. And I think you're right. We just run referrals while you sleep, kind of a separate campaign for this.
Mm-hmm.
What I would do is, I love either solo videos or I love the duo videos, like just have some short ones where, I've been working on this 3x3 model of, information, if we've got 3 to 6 video, we got 6 chapters, you got 6 videos, and you say, whenever someone has watched one or 2 of the videos, then you present them the offer to, hey, get my book, and then that starts, that's how they reach out to you to get more. But you don't even make the offer until they've seen you, and that would be great to, I love that thought. Yeah, the book cover. We've already got the content. I think we can take a lot of what me and you already did and then give it to you guys in like a Word document and just say, take out what doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
And
we can
but
also test and try it. Like you've already, where's your video running on YouTube channel, or did you start it on a Facebook thing already?
and no, I've just got it as a private playlist right now that I'm
On,
just sharing
on
with.
YouTube.
Yeah.
So just you and I, just grabbing what we have already created and run it on private list, and I could contact my clients and say, let me know what you think, because you've already started that process. Then we could run them. You and I could run it on our Facebook accounts and see what we get there. And then with a little bit of that testing, we could be very helpful while the book is being created, because we would know that this content is very exciting, or this is not, this isn't, or this is, we can learn a little bit from it in a month, pretty quick.
Yeah.
While Travis, Jerry, Jessica, Dale, whoever is working on just getting that book in cover done and stuff like that.
Yeah. Would you guys like me to look into, because we're all busy. I don't have time to really put a ton into this project, but I'm actually about to, I've been hiring a lot of people to do stuff. Would you guys be interested in me finding someone that can like do this project well, really inexpensive? Probably I'll ask one of my VAs in the Philippines if they know someone, and all of us just like put $100 or $200 to it and try to get this done for all of us in the next 30 days or so.
So when you're talking about get this done, are you talking about a book, or what are we?
Yeah, a book.
Okay. Yeah, I'll kick in $100.
I'll put that on my list this week to see if I can find out if who I can find that'll do that. And I'm actually about to put out a training with my friend Zach on how to hire a VA for $400 a month for certain things, and so
Charlie,
use that as a practice.
sorry just to be super careful and clear on this. The person who would work on this book has got to be a person in the United States who speaks first language English, because those little nuances will become very clear if they're working with ChatGPT or something trying to write this, and they don't, like, we're taking somebody that's not even a real estate or lender experienced person. So we got to make sure they really are good with English.
That's
And
true.
every time I've worked with anyone in any other country, whether it's Italy or whatever, they don't have a complete grasp like you do.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to be super careful that whoever we would hire to help would be English first, and not English from the other countries.
Right.
American
English, because we are the most slangy country of all. So we have to be clear that we're on that part, that we have to find somebody to help us. But this shouldn't be a big deal if they transcribe and load. Shouldn't be a lot of work.
Yeah, I think it would be. I mean, because we've got most of the content there. It'd probably be like formatting it. I'll look into it. I love that idea. Jerry or Jessica, have you guys worked much with investors or realtors that work with investors?
It hasn't been a big focus of mine, but I do have 3 DSCRs in the pipeline right now. So
Okay.
they're kind of finding me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same. I mean, it naturally comes when you've been in the business for a while and you talk a lot about, real estate, you're out doing videos and educating. So it is there, but it hasn't been a focus either.
Yeah. I would assume so. Jerry and Jessica are lenders. I would assume a few of your realtors might get this. Some of them won't. Some of them just they won't see it. But I would think maybe 1 or 2 might be like, oh, this is a no-brainer. And I've noticed for me, again, like the clients that I'm helping buy and sell, just like me, like talking excited about the possibility in investing and like the 4 ways that, you can, build wealth from it. Like just having that conversation, like one of my buddies says that passion hides a lot of errors, like just talking about it. They're just like, well, that's not what I want to do, but can you help me do this? And it's a fun conversation. And like you said, Travis, I want more people that aren't emotional about it, that, it's just it's a business decision.
I listened to a video the other day. There's a I call him a kid, but a younger gentleman who goes around, and he's known on TikTok and Instagram for asking wealthy people, what was the most amount of money you earned in a single year? What's your best advice? Life advice. If you could go back and talk to your 20-year-old self, things like that. And he was talking to a gentleman, was just walking down the street, and guy moved to the country, he said, with like $400, and he was in the garment manufacturing business. And his greatest financial advice was investing into real estate. He said he never borrowed, any money. He used all his own money. He said, if I could tell my 20-year-old self, it would just be to not be afraid, just go for it, invest in real estate. And I thought that was awesome advice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I've heard the same thing, and I think those are the stories that we share in the duo videos, like those are like sharing those stories, get people, and then when people watch them or like them or comment, like those are the people that, that they're in our funnel then, so to speak. And what I love about this is, if they spend time with our videos, if they read our book, like they're spending a lot of time with us, so that when they come to us, they're pre-sold, like they like us, Tony Ray, your example of people that see your website and come to you is just perfect. How like they come to you almost like a referral.
Yeah, it's scary in some ways. Like they know me so well by the time they get to me that they talk to me. It confuses me still to this day after 17 years of having a website that's generating millions of dollars in sales. They call me like we're best friends already. And it's a whole different tone of voice. It's a different reverence and respect. And when they call up, it's Tony Ray, it's Joe from New Jersey. Hey, and I'm like, shit. So my assistant's trying to find out who it is, and I'm trying to figure out who Joe from New Jersey is, and we don't know Joe. But the way Joe talks to me is like we've known each other forever. And then after questioning, I find out Joe and I have never met. He's been reading he's been reading my website content and watching my videos. And Joe thinks we're best friends. And then Joe says, tell me when you're available. I'll set my vacation to come to Tucson. I need to buy a house. Like Joe's never asked me to be available on his schedule. It's always my schedule. So it's very different because the websites and videos, and this was all Dean Jackson was eyeballs right first, and getting them to know us. And I just was very authentically me when I started writing pages for websites a very long time ago, and we didn't even have video. The internet couldn't handle it, right? And now here we are today forward, and it's working both ways. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just I have to move content from words. I have to make sure the video is available because the attention span isn't there to read anymore.
Yeah.
But video's better anyways. It gets eyeballs and teeth, which is what humans want to see, eyeballs and teeth. They want to hear your voice. That's what they want.
Hey, Tony, I'm curious. I'm looking at your. I've never been on your YouTube page, but I'm looking at it. Very impressed. Do you mind taking a couple questions?
Yeah, sure.
I'm just curious. Who does like your thumbnails and who does your videoing?
It's all authentic. Like it's an iPhone on a tripod.
Really?
You're looking at him.
Me.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
and
I'm the one.
do you just record and then post that, or do you edit? Do you do any editing on your own, or you have somebody do that?
I try not to edit anything because I want the consumer to see that it's us having a real conversation. If it's over or odd. If we're, if there's too much of that, you might see me at my one of my kids edit that out, but I try to be very clear with them, leave it natural, because if you get me and I say a lot, I'm gonna say a lot when you and I meet in person. So let me be me. And I always tell the person I'm interviewing, like, you're gonna see interviews with restaurants and my favorite places on those lists. Those folks that's exactly who you get when you walk in their building and they greet you and they're all excited to tell you about their store. And so I take an iPhone, I take a little tripod, I do take a Rode mic, which with a dongle on the phone and then a Rode mic for me and them. So no matter where I'm interviewing them, we have a clear communication transcribing into the iPhone. Yeah. Because I want that. A lot of times I'm in a restaurant or something and there's a lot of noise around us. And so I want that buffered out. But so I take those little tiny ones that come in a little case. Those are great. That's all I do. It's so simple. And the more authentic, the better. I was just on a national program called Brian Stevens. What is it called? The National Real Estate Post. And Brian Stevens called me up and said, can Joanna talk to you for 10 minutes? And I'm like, I'm running out the door, but if it's 10 minutes, I'll talk to you. Yes.
Wait, Joanna Gaines or
Joanna Lockhart
Oh.
works with Brian Stevens on the National Real Estate Post, which is all over the United States. And so they asked me a bunch of questions about this new buyer's broker thing. And I ranted for who knows how long. I just ranted my typical Tony Ray way. And then I clicked off and said, I gotta go. Thank you so much. And I took off running out the door. And the following day, I'm on stage in Scottsdale teaching for 3 straight hours, a group of high-level agents about marketing. And my phone is flashing the whole time. And we don't, like, what the hell is going on? Something's bad at home. And I find out that realtors from all over the US are calling me and texting me really positive notes about whatever I said. And I don't know what I said because I don't ever watch my video, or I'll criticize myself out of ever doing one again. So I don't want to see them or hear my voice. And I don't know what I say. I just say what is in my mind, right? And so apparently it struck a chord with a lot of agents because I got hundreds of communications, lots of people calling me a rock star. So that has my intrigue. I don't know what I said to that effect, but it also got a senator and a representative in Congress to call my TAR, my Association of Realtors, and get the president and sent him to Washington. And they phone called me and had me give everyone there in Washington at this meeting a rundown of what I was talking about at the end, because I went off on FHA and VA and how harmful they are to buyers right now. And what was happening to our poor affordability and how that was being harmed. So this, me being authentic, is moving through a lot of places. And I still don't know what I said. I have not watched it, but I do know why I got the phone calls from Washington to talk about FHA and VA. So, because they told me. So Travis, that's a long-winded answer to say there's nothing to think about here. Just be yourself. Just do it. Charlie and I just jump on our duo videos.
Yeah.
I have never watched one of them. I don't know what it sounds like or looks like. I just know that he's the cuter one and everybody's going to pay attention to him when he smiles. So that's all I care about. I don't have to worry about that part. And so I know that my group, when they watch those videos, are gonna like, oh, look at that guy Charlie. So that's good for me. It takes the spotlight off of me, which is great. So, but Charlie and I never practiced. We just get on and talk. And if he's getting good results already, that makes me very happy.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I took Charlie's approach to set a Zoom call. I do it twice a month, and it's been awesome. And like you said, I just kind of set it, forget it. We film it, and I shoot it over to Charlie to post up. And yeah, I haven't even watched any of those videos, but they've been really enjoyable. And it's amazing how fast freaking 30 minutes, 35 minutes goes by. So yeah, I'm looking to branch off of that in different ways.
Just remember, everybody's used to watching the kid that's at the concert throw their iPhone up with the selfie thing and they go, I'm at the concert. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm going in to see Pink. And they're, waving their phone and showing the crowd and the laser lights and all this stuff going on. And that's what consumers are used to, is that authentic, genuine. That's it. That's what we're used to. And that's reality. That's the new reality TV. It's actually reality. It's not
Totally.
fake reality. So
Totally. No, that was a great answer. I appreciate the insight. I'm always looking to learn from people that are better than me. So that helps.
And the secret right now is authenticity. Raw authenticity. Like I was talking to a realtor and I called her lender to say, hey, look, you need to do this duo videos. And he was like, oh, I just saw something the other day where I can just type stuff in and I can give them a picture and AI creates like my whole dialogue and video. I was like, well, that's not what I'm talking about here. Like as AI proliferates, like authenticity is, that's the game that we're in. People are going to trust that when I call them and say, I found your next house, the offer needs to be 415. That they're like, oh, that's actually Charlie, not a AI bot, and he's not doing it to 16 different people. Like that's what I found. Like just the raw simpleness is what our clients love. Yeah. Jerry, Jessica, is there anything that you think should be in the investment kind of investment book? Anything's in your area?
I mean, the lending market doesn't really cater towards investors right now. They're really catering to the affordable first-time home buyer. So they're focused on that they get the very best terms and rates. And so I felt like when they tightened up the purse strings in the investment realm, it's like the investors came out of the woodwork. It was like, all the people late to the party. I'm ready to buy a piece of real estate. And it's like, by the way, your rate's going to be 9%. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just one of those, it's super uncomfortable sometimes to break those terms to people, that it is kind of pricey to be an investor right now.
It's not a bad thing. I've actually was on a topic of how to help. Tony was talking about VA, which I do a lot of, and FHA, to incentivize them. Why don't we give them their own rate, and then everybody else, a little bit higher rate to kind of help the first-time home buyer or VA buyer?
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Well, and what we're talking about is not. This is where Jessica and Jerry could be very helpful to realtors, their favorites or whatever. We're talking creative investment, not investor 9% rates. And then if we take on that approach, like Charlie, our videos are all about creative investing and leveraging other people's money. We're also taking in what Dale and Travis are doing, which is let's go teach somebody how to get into a triplex and have mom in one house and you in one house. And we're going to move out in 2 years, 1 year, whatever. But now you're an investor because you're going to buy at homeowner occupied rate and you're going to live there for however long you need. And then we're going to move you out when you're ready. And maybe rates have come down and maybe you have equity or whatever that is. But we're going to move you out later, but we're going to help you start your investment portfolio by owner occupying your first home. And if you don't have a family member that needs to rent the house, the door next door, then put a renter in it and let them pay full market price. But let's get you in, because a door is the important part and people can be paying half your mortgage.
And Jessica, the one thing that me and Tony went over, and I'll take our playlist here and I'll post it in our Facebook group. And if you guys would like to check it out,
Will you
You know-
critique us, please? Because no, don't. I don't want to know. I'm like, I'm not fixing it.
Tell us the good things.
Say nice things about me.
Like some of the people I've talked to, they're like, I don't care if I pay 9%. I don't care if I pay 10%. Like if it cash flows or breaks even, and it's probably going to double in 10 years, and the rent's going to go up 3 to 6% every year, and I've got these tax savings, like who cares about the interest rate? Like it literally doesn't matter for the people that I'm talking to. Like I mean, yeah, it'd be
Those are
great
the
if
smart ones, right? That get that it doesn't matter. Yeah, I agree.
You
And
know,
we all have, and we all have to train them on the numbers, because the 9% interest rate for a true investor is the tax write-off. So that's part of that tax write-off. So there are ways to keep your income tax low by having these types of investments. So it's a win on, that's another revenue stream sitting there, is that tax deduction, right? And even if we're breaking even on the rent versus the mortgage payment, until that becomes cash flow and the rents are higher than the mortgage payment, you still have other ways you're making money on this property. You've got appreciation, plus you have a tax deduction, and you're now paying yourself instead of a landlord. So, and then when cash flow occurs, because rents are higher than the mortgage payment, after a couple of years, zippity doo-dah, you've got cash flow. So this old theory of having to buy based on a 6% cap rate or more,
Yeah.
that is killing a whole bunch of people who don't understand numbers, because they're staying out of the market, which is great.
well, and Tony, that everything you just said there is another chapter or a portion of a chapter on educating consumers about money. The biggest holdback, I think, from anybody buying a home, they don't understand money and how powerful the tool is. And we could simplify that to explain what you're saying there. I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah, you're right.
So-
And you know, the calculators, like that mortgage, God, the one I turned you on, MBS Highway, those calculators are simplified to help us teach people on the MBS Highway how easy these numbers are to understand if you just look at it through those little calculators.
Yeah, and I have one here. I mean, opened up for a long time because I haven't had an investor, but it's oh, what is it? Doggone it. Focus first. Focus. Anyways, they have a great investor calculator, and it's simplified. It says for an investment of $50,000, you are controlling $500,000 worth of real estate that's going to go up this amount of money, and it's all right there. And I just share it with the people, and it's simplified. And I think that, that's a powerful tool. I don't think we can have an investment real estate book without simplifying the money so that people understand how simple this is. I mean, and for myself, I walk the walk and talk the talk. And so I'm trying to share that with my millennials and Gen Zs and Gen Xs to say, you can do this as well. I mean, sure, you have to, give up some lattes maybe and do a few other things, but what do you want at the end result? As an example, our baby boomers are the poorest retirement community in years because they did not prepare.
Right.
And this is something
Dale,
that
what do you-
works in the background.
Dale, so to your point, and I love that you said, teaching people about money, because that's one of the things that I'm passionate about, and, learning how to, I don't want to use like manipulate money, but, how to leverage money. And, recently I had a conversation with a younger person that was scared because they have an investment portfolio, and they were under the impression that like they have to liquidate that in order to have money for a down payment. I'm like, no. You can actually leverage and take out a loan against that without having to liquidate it, and you keep all of your investments.
Yeah.
So like things like that, like you really need to tell people about.
And putting that in the book is what's going to keep them turning the page, because this is information that they were unaware of. And if they have any interest at all in real estate or even money, they will continue to stay in the book, and eventually we're the authority, and we'll get the phone call someday.
Yeah. So we're coming right up at 1. I love this. My suggestion too is that, like, I'm up for doing it with you, Dale, with you, Travis, Tony. We've already met a bunch, but hopping on and doing a duo video with you where we talk about the conundrum in your area, because I really do think that with all the tools that we've got available, having the video where you talk about it, and then we can convert that into your chapter, you know, and then I'll look and kind of see what I can find out. One of my good friends, do you know Joe Allen, Tony Ray, or Dale?
From
He was,
romance?
yeah, he was a Bromance guy.
Yeah.
A lot of it's awesome.
I don't know him. I just know of him. I never really met him.
We've been talking about making some books, and he shared some stuff with me that I may play around and try out.
Charlie, I think we just need to get that. Obviously, I need to talk to you also. So get me on your list to call me as soon as possible, because you and I need to finish up the videos, but
Yeah.
we need to turn those into books for these guys. And then that the book can become that. And we could use that. All of us could use this book. And then you could do different videos with them. Obviously, there's a lot that branches off from this, but really what we need to do is on it ASAP. Because we have a window right now where investors are swarming the waters from every direction, and they're paying cash or whatever they have to do to get these properties. And we need to be the go-to people for that. So we need to get out there.
So what I'm going to do is I am, Tony, can I call you right after this?
Yes.
I'll call you. I will also post this link in my in the Facebook group and then I will see my calendar should still be, I don't know if it's pinned. I'll see if it's pinned. That way, Travis, Dale, like, grab some time on my calendar, and I'd be happy to knock that out where we just do a duo video about your chapter.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Hey,
Thank you.
Great
now.
meeting